All right. Welcome, Balance Bosses, to today's edition of Expert Interviews with Brandi Hooker Evans.
Hello, my dear friend. I'm so delighted to see your face this morning. Thank you so much for taking time with me.
Oh, thank you for taking time with us. I am super excited, number one, to just bask in your goodness during this interview, but also to just learn from you because you are a wealth of knowledge in so many areas. So, gosh, we are going to try and touch on just a few of them today. And so thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us.
Yes, of course. Delighted to. Thank you so much. And that's such a kind welcome. It's really funny. One of my friends, Ann Duffy, is really big into the Clifton strengths. And my whole life, I've been like, why am I such a geek about information? You know, like someone will talk about something random and I will have like read an article or a book or checked something out and like have an idea about several, not everything, but a lot of things. Anyway, so I took the Strengths Finder test, and one of my top 5 tests is a like absolute thirst for knowledge. So sometimes it's really annoying and other times it's super helpful. So today I'm ready to be helpful.
Oh, fantastic. Well, and let's just talk about your knowledge because you have so much. You're a hygienist, but not just a hygienist. You went on and got your master's in health education. And you explained to us the ER behind your name too, because that's pretty fascinating as well. So give us a little insight into what the ER means and what the MHE means and how you got that and how you utilize it.
Perfect. Okay, so I went to Idaho State University, go Bengals, and yes, loved the dental hygiene program there. Had the most incredible mentors and great experience. So one of the things that they train us to do is expanded functions as a dental hygienist. So the ER means that in extended access settings, I have a restorative license, so I can place fillings. So if you and I were like in a rural town doing a service project, you could remove the decay, drill the tooth, and then I could fill it, which is pretty cool. It's not something I've ever used, but the thing that makes extended access restorative licensure important is from the moment that I graduated dental hygiene school and went into private practice, I was able to communicate with the doctor, the assistants, and the patients effectively about restorative care. Now, am I the expert? Absolutely not. But do I have enough information to be dangerous and helpful? Sure. You betcha. Right? So this is one of the things when I talk to teams about you know, how do you have that really great team? How do you show up and love your days and are excited for the rest of the week? It's learning little bits about what everyone does, not being the expert in everything, but being a contributor to all. And so that's been a really big gift. So thank you to my time at Idaho State University. It came with a package. I didn't really have a choice, but I'm grateful for it. And then the MHE, as I realized that I had some gifts to share to help other people have great lives both in and out of the dental office and primarily to take better care of our patients. Continuing my education as a health educator has been highly valuable and useful because I learned, again, so much of how to be more helpful and how to package my information in a way that people can actually use, because the way that it is in my head is totally useless to anyone but me. It's like a jumble mess of, oh, and guess what? And oh, over here. And pretty soon people are exhausted. And I'm like, try living with me. I mean, I've got this all day, every day.
Oh, so that really refined your education piece of it so that you could, number one, communicate with patients and the team and your doctor, but also then transform with education.
Right, because if you think about a full-time clinician, a full-time dental hygienist sees roughly 2,000 appointments a year. So we'll say anywhere between 800 and 1,500 different humans.
Mm-hmm.
So that's super cool. But if 10 hygienists come and gain one good thing,
mm-hmm.
right? And then it multiplies from there. Now, my counselor would say, Brandi, you're just supposed to put into the universe what you know you're supposed to be putting in, and the outcomes are not your responsibility or really any of your business. But I'm not quite there on my personal growth and development. So I still want the great outcomes for everyone else. Call me selfish, but it's where I'm at right now.
That's not selfish at all. I mean, if you see great outcomes, why wouldn't you want that for everybody else if you know it can be done? And so, you know, and we've just barely touched on your bio. So that was just your schooling. But then you've also been president of the Idaho Dental Hygienists Association and your local Dental Hygiene Association as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great service. And then on top of that, you run a coaching and a CE company because you are giving these gifts, that all these wonderful outcomes, all this wonderful information that you have had such great success with, you are transforming into other dental offices and other hygienists as well, right?
It's so fun. And really, it's funny because it sounds so exciting and so bright, and the success is wonderful. But the success all comes from failure. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really excited to talk about that today, because I think a lot of times we see other people doing things on Instagram, on the stage, and it looks so beautiful and so fancy and so fun. Well, I learned how to take better care of my patients by watching my patients get gum disease and struggle with periodontitis under my own watch. I learned how to be a better communicator it really is a gift of mine, but I also have failed at it and watched others fail. So not all of my failures are my own. I definitely have tried to learn from the teachers before me and gather all of these, and let's call them significant learning opportunities instead of failures, but that's what they are. It's the yucky things that I've learned how to manage in a different way that I want to then share. And so when you're hearing me speak or listening to us today, my invitation is to remember that all of these good tips and tricks come from hard. And so it's not perfect all the time, and it's not supposed to be. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to fail. It's okay to miss a piece of calculus, take the x-ray and think, oh my goodness, or whatever. You can apply that as you go. Parenthood. Let's talk about learning from parenthood, right? Parenthood.
Oh my gosh.
So that's my, I think probably the bottom line take home message from today is that it is not about being perfect and having the biggest smile and the most peaceful mind 100% of the time. It's about gathering goodness even when it sucks.
I love that. That's a great quote right there. Gathering goodness even when it sucks.
Oh, Laura, sometimes I say these things and I'm like, well, it's really what I think, but then, it's like not as professional maybe as it could be.
Hey, come on. You know what? If it gets the message across, that's the main objective here. So tell me, early on, before all of this, before the coaching company, before the CE company, what were some of those aha moments that you had when you were in the suck, where you said, there's a better way? There's got to be a better way. Do you have any of those that you can share with us?
Yeah, I'll try and keep it condensed. I think over and over, I saw my patients that I thought I was doing a good job with get gum disease. So a patient would come in and I would love them and I would want to take care of them and I would want them to feel good. So I would poo-poo, sugarcoat, and avoid the screaming issue. Mm-hmm. I would see bleeding 4s and 5s and think, oh, well, if I just do a really good job and I motivational interview them really well, then in 6 months, they're going to come back and we're going to all be moving forward and it's going to be fabulous. Mm-hmm. Okay, so do that for a handful of years. My bleeding 3s are bleeding 4s and 5s. My bleeding 4s and 5s are bleeding 5s and 6s. Mm-hmm. The crustal density loss in the radiographs has now become vertical, right? Like mm-hmm. you watch the transformation and it really, it takes a couple of years mm-hmm. to truly see a large portion of your patient population decline like that. And so I had that. Mm-hmm. And I started getting sweaty and thinking, what the heck? Mm-hmm. And I went to a CE course that forever changed my life. I believe her name is Stacy McLaughlin. If anyone knows her, like, pass this on. I was so hungry and thirsty for this knowledge, and she presented a course on inflammation. And I was like, oh my God, this is what's happening to me. Mm. This is what's happening in my chair. I am not taking care of my patients. And I want them to like me, so I'm telling them good news. But what's crazy about this story, Laura, is that when I started to give my patients the tools that they needed to decide for themselves, you know, I stopped being the deliverer of bad news or good news. I just presented the facts, mm-hmm. let them choose. People were signing up for non-surgical periodontal therapy. And when they were leaving the office, hugging me, I don't have personal space, right? Giving me hugs and saying, thank you for taking care of me. Mm.
Isn't that amazing? Oh. So you got more love being real than trying to be nice.
Right.
And you got more success.
Right. And I was able to be more nice and more authentic and live into my professional potential. Because I am educated as a dental hygienist, mm-hmm. and I wasn't valuing it. So how could I ask my patients to value it? And I, we'll be in a situation where doctors and hygienists will be getting together. We'll talk about how our patients have, cavities and gum disease, and if they would just listen to us. And I believed that rhetoric for so long. And then I started taking a step back and listening as if I were the patient. Mm-hmm. Number one, they can't understand what we're saying. And number two, we are like word vomiting so many things that of course they can't go home with anything. If they've got a new toothpaste, a new interdental aid, a new way to eat, a new way to exercise, a new way to sleep, a new way and routine at the dental office, plus a bill at the dental office and 4 additional appointments.
Right. Right. Yes. That make me want to run and just say, forget it.
Yeah.
Well, let alone communicate it to somebody in your family who asks you, why do you need this? Why are we doing this? Do you even know what, you can't even then turn around and communicate it to them.
No. And my favorite thing is to keep it simple enough for a 4th grader to understand. Mm-hmm. The second part to that story is only give people one thing at a time unless they ask for more. Mm. I want more. If you give me a new power toothbrush, I'm going to say thank you and want to go to the next thing. Mm-hmm. So value me as a patient and see that I am thirsty for that knowledge and I need it. Mm-hmm. That is not the rule. Mm-hmm. Most patient just needs to hear, okay, my next thing mm-hmm. is this. Mm-hmm. That way they can get their mind on it and then we can build on it. The wonderful thing about being a dentist like you or a hygienist like me is that we're trying to create relationships where we take care of patients for a lifetime. Mm-hmm. So if you are addressing them like you have 1 hour and 1 hour only, that's where I learned that I was making a mistake. And so my share is, hey, we're going to have them for a long time. Let's grow and build one step at a time. And then if they want more, we add more. And if not, we just.
Yep. Well, and it's so true. And that segues lovely into your passion of micro habits, because it's really like you advocate for the micro things that you do consistently that will add up. So if you can give a patient one micro thing to do and it becomes part of them, who they are, how they function, it's more successful than giving them a ton of stuff that they don't use at all.
Amen. Amen, Laura. So if we liken it to this, let's say that you've never ran a day in your life. And you see the people running marathons and you think, well, I'm going to run a marathon. I don't know very many people that look at that and say, today's the day. 26.2 miles, I'm doing it. The recommendation for runners is to start walking and run for a couple of seconds at a time, and then run for a half a mile, then a full mile. And really the idea is that we're building base miles for months and months and months.
Yep.
And that's not any different than getting fit, having a great sleep habit, having a quality, mindful practice, food. You know, people are like, I'm going to eat healthy. Awesome. If you go out to eat healthy, like a marathon tomorrow, it will suck and you won't stick with it. And then you'll be back to the, I wish I was a healthy eater stage.
Yep.
So let's get into
it.
Yes. How do we actually then do it? Where is a place to start? Let's do this. What if in the morning when we wake up, we added just a cup of water before breakfast and we didn't do anything else? When you do that, the first thing that happens is your brain in the morning is really open to your creativity, your goodness, your hope, like all the good parts of your brain are really open first thing in the morning. So when we take that little glass of water that we know is good for us, there's a lot of cool things that start happening. The water, because we know it's good for us and we're excited to have it, feels good, is processed well, and is a super great motivator for the rest of your day. So I was sneaky by saying, just drink a cup of water at breakfast, because since you're doing that, since you and I are waking up and having that glass of water, we're thinking, where's my first vegetable coming from? It just naturally, like, one good decision leads to another. But if I say, I'm going to drink the water and I'm going to have 7 vegetables today, then I feel overwhelmed. I wake up, I reach for my tea or my coffee, and I'm like, well, I missed the water. What's next? I guess I'm having Wendy's, triple cheeseburger baconator for lunch. I don't even know.
Yep.
Right. And so those little tasks, maybe micro habits, trick your whole self into doing better throughout the day.
That's awesome. It's like the snowball effect or the domino effect that, you can take a tiny domino in a line of 13 dominoes and it can knock over the huge number 13 can be huge because that little tiny tip creates more power, right? More momentum, more positive reinforcement.
Yes. And it makes you feel good about what you're doing. And if you pick a task that you can do and enjoy the adrenaline and the endorphin rush from completing something that you wanted to do, then your brain is more open to what the next thing might be, you know, and for me, that was adding a vegetable at breakfast time.
Mm-hmm.
My first window into, I now eat all the fruits and vegetables every day, was that one, I just added a vegetable at breakfast. Mm-hmm. That was the one thing that's got me to, now I have a variety of both every day, and it's easy, but I play games with myself. Like, okay, do you have like Costa Vida Cafe Rio in Bend? Do you know what that is?
No, I don't think we do, but I know what it is.
Okay, yes. So for those of you that don't have one of them, it's like a bar, a buffet that they make you of Mexican food. And in general, I love a burrito and I love a salad, both. So the game I play is, how can I get an extra vegetable in? So when I go to one of those Mexican restaurants, I get the salad instead of the burrito, but in the salad, it comes with that tortilla that I was going to get in the burrito. Mm-hmm. It comes with my whatever meat I chose that day that I was going to get in the burrito, and the beans and the rice, all those yummy things that I was planning to get with my yummy burrito. But it also came with like a cup or two of leafy greens. Mm-hmm. So I essentially had the same lunch, but I tricked myself into a full 2 servings of more veggies just by looking at the menu and thinking, okay, how do I add a vegetable to this? Mm-hmm. A lot of us feel like, oh, I have to eat healthy. I've got to show up and have tofu and plain spinach leaves for the rest of my life. No. Mm-hmm. You can still go out and get that fast food even if you want. But play that game of where's the vegetable hiding, and boom.
That's so brilliant. How can I get one vegetable? How can I get one extra vegetable? That's so easy. That's such an easy thought process.
Yeah.
And it really then just builds on itself, because pretty soon, you know, you have a bowl full of vegetables and then you're still saying, how do I get one extra vegetable? Right?
Right. And it becomes a game, and it's fun and it's exciting and it's life changing, but it was tiny. Mm-hmm. I didn't wake up and say, Laura, you should get 8 servings of veggies and fruit every day. I was like, hey, where's that veggie?
Yeah.
And then anywhere you go, any restaurant you go to, we travel a lot for work. Mm-hmm. And so you have to eat out regularly. Mm-hmm. And that can be really hard on your, immune system and all of the things that go along with travel. So,
yeah. Yes. And I bet that works great with kids too. Like they start having it be a game too. And then they celebrate it with you probably, like, Mom, look how many vegetables I had today.
Yep. Yeah. It's so funny. My rule for them, and they like roll their eyes someday when they like turn around looking for me because the words came out of their mouth and it shocked them. I tell them this, they'll go have something. I'm like, did you get a snack? And they say, yes. And I'll say, did you have something that was a plant recently? I used to say, did you have something that was a plant? Well, my kids are really smart, and they learned that you can backtrack to a plant on most things, right? Some part of that came from a plant at some point.
Right.
Even a Twinkie. A Twinkie came from a plant.
For sure. Vegetable oil.
So now I say recently. Have you eaten something that was a plant recently? And they know that if it was not picked within the last week,
don't count.
It doesn't count.
I love it. Oh, so micro habits can work to create good habits. Can micro habits work to dissuade us from bad habits?
They're always working for or against us.
Mm-hmm.
Our little micro habits. Mm-hmm. And they are in our brain. They're in our actions. Like it's everywhere. So it can feel overwhelming to think like, oh my gosh, everything I think and say and do is a micro habit. Like, where do I start? Like, just, I always say pick one good. And then a lot of people are like, well, I also want to get rid of this, right? As human nature, we always want to focus on the bad. I don't know why, but we do. So I'll share with you a story that I have about a patient that loved her Diet Coke. She was beating herself up over and over again because she just loves it. It's her favorite thing. She has it with her all the time. She knows it's why she has so many cavities. She knows that it's bad for her body. She's just beating herself up and she just loves it.
I get that. That could be chocolate for me.
Vodka, bad, I mean, you name it, whatever, right? Like, who is it? Martini 30 yet? Close. So here's the strategy, and you can use this in any situation with your patients, with your family members, anywhere. I said, okay, you love the Diet Coke, is that correct? Yes, I love it so much. And I said, then don't give it up. And she said, Brandi, what are you talking about?
What? You're my hygienist. What?
I said, no, keep that. But let's turn it from a crutch into a treat. Because you believe that this is a treat to start with, but you're associating with how bad it is for your body. And I believe we can all agree that an occasional treat is just fine. Almost anything that you pick outside of, like, you know, meth and LSD, right? I mean, like, most things we can work with.
Right.
So I said, from now on, when you have that Diet Coke, don't ever have it on the go. Don't ever get it and take it with you. Find a time where you can sit down with it and have it in your ice or your styrofoam cup or out of the bottle, like whatever your favorite is. I love the good ice and the styrofoam cup. I know it's terrible, but and sit down with it and just enjoy it, right? One of the things about soda pop is that it's accessible and it's acceptable, like by other people. If I ran around with my favorite martini all the time, people would worry, they would stop me, I would get pulled over, go to jail, right? It's no good. We can't carry the vodka with us. However, we can the Diet Coke, which makes it more dangerous in my opinion.
Yep. Very
okay.
True.
So I said, when would you normally have a martini? And she said, well, Friday night. And I'm like, great. So that is when you have your Diet Coke, you decide what your portion is going to be, and you have it then, and you enjoy the heck out of it. There's no guilt. There's no regret. This is your special Diet Coke. And when you need a drink on the run, fill up your water and be like, Friday night, I'm coming for you. And it takes that crutch of that daily habit that, oh man, I had one Diet Coke already today. I might as well just have another. Oh, well, we're at dinner. I'm going to order another one. And it turns it into a fun little treat that you can feel good about.
Totally different for your brain. And
yeah.
and then how you think about it creates your feelings around it, which then also too reinforces the behavior when you have good feelings about something, right?
Yeah. And it's not about deprivation. I see that over and over. People think like, well, if I want to do this, then I have to deprive myself of something that I love. Well, I'm going to be the first one to tell you, I love a baked good. I love a glass of wine. I love a vodka martini. I don't live on them. I have them as a treat. I love bread. I love a tortilla. I'm from Idaho. I love some comfort food, right? It's a little different than Southern, but we have a few, I mean, the potato state, let me just tell you, we can put some yummy things together that you probably don't want your head to toe to be made out of every single day.
Right. Right.
And that self-talk, right? That's another micro habit. When you're mad at yourself for making decisions all day, every day that are hindering your health, versus I'm having my treat and I'm feeling good in the process.
Right.
I didn't take anything away. I just modified the way I thought about it and the way that I acted on it.
So follow up with this patient, you know, and did it go well for her? And did she?
Oh yeah, she loved it. She's like, this is so great. And the funny thing is she also filled her prescription for the anti-cavity toothpaste because she was so excited about this new thing that she was doing that she also wanted to take the next step in her preventive care. And so now
there's that right there, right? You just made, I mean, you got a friend for life.
Yeah. And she trusts me and she doesn't think I'm judging her. Because I'm not. I really I'm so happy to support people right where they're at because we're all at different levels of their journey. And when I was sitting in that class learning about inflammation, gosh, that was clear back in 2013, maybe. It was the year before, maybe 2012. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Sorry, I get lost. When I was sitting in that class, if the instructor had been talking down to me and let me know what a horrible job I was doing as a dental hygienist and confirmed my worries that I was already seeing, that my patients were already not healthy like I want them to be, the chances of me transforming my life are way smaller than I felt like she had been there and she got me. And I was 40 steps behind her on that journey, but I was invited and welcome. And it was okay that I wasn't where she was at.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? And that is a perfect transition into what you do to give back to hygienists, which is your Stellar Infusion Study Club. So this is one way that they can learn from you. And it's virtual, right? It's from the comfort of their own home. So tell us a little bit of how this dream came to be, what it's involved, this next session that's starting in September. Tell us, go ahead, fill us with your goodness on the study club.
Okay, I am so excited. So last year we were all at home. The pandemic was doing its pandemic thing and people were just struggling. And all of the dental conferences where we normally get together and learn information and share hardships and successes and work together as a larger community were canceled.
Yep.
Just rug right out from underneath us, right? So I was like, well, what do we do about that? And I've been offering some free CE over Zoom to my Idaho friends, and people were loving, they needed to get their CE still, and we got a chance to get together and talk and be a community, which if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Well, I want to go far.
Yeah.
So I gathered in and then have been able to pick up speed. It's 90 minutes. It's once a month from September to April. I've divided into 2 sessions. So there's 4 classes in the fall, 4 classes in the spring. Take the summers off. And we get 1.5 live CE credits. I'm accredited nationally to provide, so that's all taken care of. And I've tried really hard to address a wide variety of topics that we need in our everyday lives and practices so that it's always something different, it's always something new. I have some really great guests that share their special knowledge that's, either outside of what I do or what I do that is like, hey, let's build some really exciting momentum. And we get together. Lighthouse, Care Credit, Oral-B, and the Autoflosser are sponsoring this coming semester's tickets. So it's free for everyone across the nation.
It's free.
Well, complimentary, you know, like they're paying for everybody's ticket.
Yeah.
And it is going to be so fun. So we'll learn a little bit from each of our sponsors, one per night. And they've got some great helpful tools to help us enhance or make simpler or provide things for our patients. I tried to gather people that were really passionate about helping us as clinicians and also directly to our patients. And this semester, I'm so excited to announce Dr. Uche Odiatu, who is my favorite speaker ever, is joining us in November for Transform Your Practice. And every time I've seen him speak, I've changed something major in my life, the way that I take care of myself and my patients. So it's going to be great. This next session in September, on September 16th, is so fun. I'm doing the extended version of my Stop It, Just Stop It speech and blog article, why and how we should stop telling our patients they have gum disease and let them tell us.
Awesome.
And it's going to be so fun, so uplifting, and a chance for us all to gather in and say, hey, this has been sucking. I need help with this. Or I've really rocked this out. Give this a go. And just to be in a room instead of an island with other people that are working on what you're working on.
Oh,
it's going to be good.
It sounds fantastic. And I love the fact that it's virtual, so it's easy to get to.
Yeah. You can drive carpool and just turn off the video.
Yes. So that works for busy people, and it's a sense of community, and it provides CE. We all need CE. So that's a wonderful thing. And the topics sound fascinating. Your speech at Dentistry's Got Talent was over the top. When I heard you speak, I said to myself, I would bring you into my office right now. I would walk up to you, sign you, and say, come teach my hygiene department. So that is another thing that you do, hygiene department transformation. So you do that. You work with offices and their hygiene department. Tell me a little bit about that. That goes again with meeting people right where they are, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. So my hope and plan is to come and share with the entire team basically a template that works. And it works over and over for different people and different personality types.
That's nice.
One of the things that we get lost on is trying to explain things better to our patients, which usually complicates them.
Word vomiting.
Yeah. So if we can truly commit as a team to be speaking the same language to each other as well as our patients, the transformation is so fast. Like literally, I come in, provide 10 CE credits. We usually break it up the course of 5 sessions, planning meeting with the owners ahead of time, and then support through it. The transformation can literally happen while you're getting 10 CE credits, and then your practice is healthier, your patients are healthier, your team is healthier. I mean, you just go down the list and it's like, check, 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 check. And you, as much as I love you, you aren't stuck with me forever, right? Like I put a little bow on it and let people go and do their thing, because most of us just need a little permission and a couple of tools to take what we already know and transform it into action. Like I love taking the science that we learn about, the research, the epidemiology, and turning it into action that works on a daily basis for our teams and our patients.
I love that. I love the fact that you can give them something that just elevates what they're doing and lets them do it in their way, right? Because I love how you said, you're not married to me, you know, because that's, I think a lot of offices, fear of consultants and coaches is they're going to come in and change everything to the way they do it. And I think that every office is unique and every department is unique and every patient pool is unique. And so you have to treat that uniquely.
For sure. And you have to live into your own personality.
Oh, yes.
Right? You know, I am super loud and bubbly and excited. And I love me, and it's not the way for everyone. It's not even a good way for a lot of, like, I annoy myself. I get why, you know, it's too much sometimes. And I say that with a very, very light heart. Like I really do appreciate, you know, just being in my own skin. Mm-hmm. But if you, even though you and I are friends and we clicked from the moment that we first met, if you showed up and tried to do it like I did it, it wouldn't be Laura. And so then it's not trustworthy. Mm-hmm. And so I want, my hope for us all is to lean into who we are. And if you're the quiet, subtle type, or the sarcastic, dry, or the loud, bubbly, or just the really nice, even-keeled doctor, hygienist assistant, front office worker, let's have the tools that you have available to work inside your own personality, living into your own truth. Because the other thing about the difference of our personalities is the difference in patience. Mm-hmm. Not everyone can hear me. Mm-hmm. And so they might need Kelly. Mm-hmm. Not everyone can hear Kelly and they might need me. And that is okay. Yep. And it's even beautiful. So, you know, it turns into more leaning in. Yep. What are you? What do you love? What do you believe? There's a lot of cool ways that we can take this. When we were at Smiles at Sea, we saw so many people are really passionate about airway. Mm-hmm. Like the association with cardiovascular disease, the sleep, the behavior, all those things. Mm-hmm. I see them and I love it. And I'm so excited to learn. Mm-hmm. It does not drive me wild. I'm not going to be the sleep expert hygienist. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be educated enough to recognize when I need to pass the baton on to someone else. Mm-hmm. But what if you are the sleep doctor or the sleep hygienist? Mm-hmm. What if? Right. And what if we have one of those in the office, and we also have the don't tell them they have gum disease hygienist in the office, and we know who should get with who at the right time when they are ready for that information. Yeah. I'm going to get just a little bit philosophical for a moment. Awesome. I believe that we are given different gifts for specific reasons. Mm-hmm. And we're put in these places at the right time so that the message can be heard by the people who need to hear it. Mm-hmm. So the way to share our message is to get quiet, figure out what we love, what we're passionate about, get educated in a way that we can share it with those. And if you are the sleep hygienist, I believe that the universe is going to draw a lot of those people that need that to you. Mm-hmm. You know, my patients come to me with gum disease. That's my specialty. I see it. I'm able to do what I do with it because I love helping people get healthy, and total body health associated with what's the window their mouth is showing us into so much more. That's my jam. But the people that are supposed to hear something else, I believe, are going to be drawn to those other hygienists that are into sleep therapy, was our example today. So that's a challenge right there. Like, what do you love? What's your aspect of care that you love? Are you leaning into it? And if not, call me. Let's get a plan. We'll write a to-do list.
Yes. And not only that, but we talk about this a lot in balance. The more that you operate from a place of joy during the day, the more balanced and happy you are. And so if you can tune into what that is for you, and then really keep your focus on that as much as possible throughout the day, you will have a more balanced life. And so I love that. Give Brandi a call and she will go through this with you. She will transform you with her stellar coaching and her Stellar Infusion Study Club, and just her overall goodness.
You are so kind to me. Thank you.
Yes. So as we wrap up this interview, we've talked a lot about micro habits, about living your authentic self, and all the great things that you have done because you live your authentic self, and because you practice your own micro habits. As we wrap up, is there anything else that we should be sure to mention, or anything else you want to leave us with today?
Yeah, I would just love to say that when you leave and go to whatever is next for you, I wish you joy. And with that wish comes the permission to say no. If something is not going to bring you joy, I am sending you a big no stamp, and go ahead and just pass on something. Just add a little joy today.
Excellent. That's great advice. Awesome. All right. Well, you can find Brandi in all the usual places. She's on Instagram. She's on Facebook. I have her website going here. I will put all of these links in the comments below this Facebook Live, and also in the show notes on YouTube. So you can find out more about her Stellar Infusion Study Club, which is starting in September, which will be here before we know it. And that is the website there. And if you want to work with Brandi in your own hygiene department, contact her on her website, and she'd be more than happy to visit with you about that. So awesome. Thank you for spreading your goodness with us today. You are amazing. You are a gift to the dental world. You are a light, a bright light. And I'm so thankful for your friendship and for your passion in this area. Thank you for being with us.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. And right back at you, girl. All those things, that's what you do for me too. Thank you. I adore you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Balance Bosses, for hanging with us today. And remember, you're the CEO of your life. Become the boss of your balance. All right. Cheers.